the king, that's all.
I've been talking to him on the CB. The king, he's alive.
Oh, man.
I saw.
Yeah, it was him.
He was abducted by rock and roll loving aliens.
The spelling on the headstone indicates that, yes, the king is dead.
I'm not dead, baby. I'm just having a break. I have a break. I have a Kit Kat.
Hello, welcome to the Television Affair. My name's Johnny, and if I sound weird, it's because I'm recording this in my dad's kitchen. Hooray. Anyway, so this week, the main thing I want to talk to you about is something that does my nut completely in, and that is channels with generic names. It's something that I've actually found quite irksome ever since I've started to do this, because loads of TV channels have generic names. Trying to search for generic terms just doesn't work. And as I've mentioned before, many channels have had names such as Select or Choice or Plus. Those ones, though, are not so hard to look for, especially if they've got something like BBC or ITV at the beginning. The problem is when they are just their own thing. They might as well be called the TV channel. That means you have to read through all of a whole bunch of searches and stuff to get like 20 seconds of footage you end up playing over and over again. I've put off looking for your TV because it's so generic, and there was more than one on Sky, none of which I could actually find. That's TV, which I bloody hate as a brand, is a pretty good example. I mean, call it something interesting. And I know that brand comes from the TV show That's Life on BBC with Esther Ranson, but calling it that is pretty lazy. Like, is it supposed to be a joke? So the first one had some really interesting roots, and although it ended up being on TV for over 15 years, I found one ident and that's it. But anyway, this started off as Eat Cinema. Eat Cinema came to our screens in 2006, and it was mostly about film promos and reviews. It was a little bit like the bits in between the movies on Sky Movies. After only a year, the channel was rebranded to My Channel. For the first 10 months of the channel's life, it had no adverts and mostly consisted of 3 shows, formerly from the Live TV library. Live TV had a second run on Sky Digital from 2003 to 2006, but it was just repeats of the old channel. Didn't have any live presenting or anything like that. But when it closed, the channel's shows moved over to My Channel. Anyway, in 2007, it was purchased by Record Media, which is a pretty big company. Grupo Record or Record is what it's called, and it's the first largest media company in Brazil, according to Wikipedia. By the looks of the names of the shows on the schedule, it played well-being and religious-based programming. It had shows such as Moses and the Ten Commandments, and Miracle of Jesus, and Joseph of Egypt. It closed at the end of 2020, mid-pandemic. Their other channels outside of the UK are still running, and I guess they just decided to pull out of the UK. While we're on the subject of a network I was going to look into, one of those was the Life channels. There was Life TV, Life 24, and Life Showcase in the mid-2000s, but I can't find any footage or even any logos for those. The studio was exclusively on NTL, launching in 2001. It was a joint venture with Vivendi, who also owned Sci-Fi Channel at the time, so it was advertised a lot over there. The idea for the studio was that it was to be a film channel. The channel would end up being short-lived though, because of a few issues. The first one was that NTL in 2001 didn't include Telewest or anything else really, it was just NTL. And considering that this was actually pre-digital TV, it wouldn't be carried on all NTL services. From memory, around this time, the studio wasn't on Swindon Cable, and it probably would have struggled to get a slot on the actual box because they were limited on the channels around that time. This was sort of a backstep to the 80s if you think about it, because channels like Premiere and even Cinematel going right back to the beginning. But the other issue was that they struggled to get anyone to carry it on their other platforms. They'd hoped to get onto Sky Digital and even had hopes on getting it onto On Digital as well as the other cable networks, but it didn't turn out that way. Vivendi were also not having a great time financially by mid-2001, and things weren't getting any better by 2002. They tried to sell the channel, but it was decided from NTL and Vivendi that the channel would close by the end of the year, which it did, due to not being financially viable. And finally, Pricebusters TV.
Pricebusters would like to say, welcome everyone. Busting prices every day. Channel 681. With a saving here and a saving there. Here a deal, there a deal. Every day amazing. Pricebusters would like to say, welcome everyone. Pricebusters would like to say,
for fuck's sake.
welcome everyone. Busting prices every day. Channel 681. With a saving here and a saving there. Here a deal, there a deal. Every day amazing. Pricebusters would like to say, welcome everyone. Channel 681.
Well, it's no wonder why it failed, is it? This is a shopping channel and it was riding on a wave that had already washed up. The rest were already on shore when it launched in 2006, a good 6 years after Bid Up and Ideal World had surfed in. It did have a second channel called Pricebusters 2, and it was just pre-records, and unsurprisingly, after 7 months, both channels closed. I can't see anything that says that anybody significant ever worked there. That's it for today, a very short one. I'm going to try and get a couple of short ones out just to get some more videos out, but there you go. I'm in my dad's this week. I'm down in Swindon, the centre of the universe, so I'm just, just here. Anyway, thanks very much for this video, everybody who has joined the channel and also on Patreon. That includes Joseph Adams, Stephen Bride, Hooter Noodles, Matthew Beckley, Chris Elliott, Samuel Desmond, Tracker John, Manuel Mobius, Kieran Dykes, Mark Jackson and Mank Pete. The executive producers are Tim Goodwin and Computer Tom. I've been Johnny Robinson and I'll still be Johnny Robinson after this video's finished. Thank you, bye!